Happy Wednesday. It's a sunny, sort of sunny, Pittsburgh sunny, warm Wednesday in March, and I'm here for STEAM. And I'm already getting dirt all over the place, and that's great because we are going to be digging in the dirt a little bit today. And I have, I have this plant called a fiddle leaf fig, and we are actually going to repot it. So we're going to talk about repotting plants and how to do that and why to do that. And then I also have, we're going to be do a little seed bag experiment that you can hang in your window. So if you have like some bean seeds or just really any kind of seeds from a vegetable or a fruit or whatever, and a plastic baggie and a cotton ball or a paper towel. We're going to just be using that in a little bit. But first, I want to kick it off by talking a little bit about, so this is Women's History Month, March, and want to celebrate some amazing women. So I am going to talk a little bit about somebody named Marie Clark Taylor. And I picked her because it has to do with our topic for today, plants. So Marie Clark Taylor was the first African-American woman to receive a PhD in botany. So botany is the study of plants from Fordham University. She also served as the department head at Howard University for many years. Let's see. During her career, Taylor created science institutes for high school teachers to share new ways to teach science. She also encouraged teachers to adopt her innovative methods, such as using real botanical material, so like plant material, and light microscopes to study living cells. She was selected by President Lyndon B. Johnson to expand her work and bring her teaching style worldwide. Taylor was born in Pennsylvania in 1911. She graduated from Dunbar High School in 1929, and then she went to Howard University and received her MS and BS. And then she went to teach high school in the 30s and 40s, and then she earned her doctorate from Fordham University. And then she, in 1941, she became the first woman of any race to receive a scientific doctorate from Fordham when she received her PhD in botany. And her research was in something called photomorphogenesis, the influence of light on plant growth. And she lived until 1990. So sounds like a pretty cool lady. She did a lot of awesome, innovative stuff. And I love plants. They're like one of my favorite things in the world. And so I always love learning about people, especially women who study plants. And I think it's cool that she studied how light affects plants. As we know, plants need light to be able to make their food in the process of photosynthesis. And they need soil for nutrients. There's minerals in the soil that the plants need, and it's also where their roots grow. There are some plants like air plants that you might be familiar with that don't need soil, or some plants can just grow straight in water, but typically we put plants in soil. And they also need carbon dioxide, which luckily we breathe out, and they release oxygen, which we breathe in. So it's really beneficial to have houseplants in your house because they help purify your air, and they also look really nice. I have plants all over my house, and I love it. So this is a little baby fiddle leaf fig. Definitely needs a new home. It's pretty dry. So we're going to put it into this pot I have. So when you repot a plant, you don't want it to be too much bigger than the pot you get it in, because that can just be a little shocking for it. It needs like a kind of a cozy environment, but you also don't want it to be too small or the roots can get too crowded. You also need some soil. I have this organic potting mix. I like to use organic because it doesn't have a bunch of added chemicals, but it's, whatever you prefer is fine. And I do recommend getting some kind of potting mix for your plants rather than digging it up from outside, because the soil outside, depending on where you are, can have some different chemicals and pesticides and like stuff from industrial, like the steel mills and stuff like that. Pittsburgh soil, some of it has some chemicals in it that aren't that great. But if that's all you have access to, you can also make that work. But if you're able to get some potting soil, that's always ideal for the health of the plants. Often they have things in there like fertilizer or the different nutrients that plants need, nitrogen, phosphorus. There's lots of different things that plants need, just like we need different nutrients to be able to survive and thrive. So do plants. Okay, so I'm going to, oh yeah, and this has all kinds of, this also has fungi in it. So fungi is actually really good for plants too, depending on what kind it is. And I'm sure it has some other great ingredients too to help them grow. So I'm gonna just reach right in here, but obviously if you're doing it, you can use gloves or whatever you're comfortable with, a scoop. I kind of like getting my hands dirty. I love gardening, I love plants, so I reach right in there. Okay, so when you're taking your plant out of its nursery pot, just like the plastic one that you probably get it in, you want to be gentle. You don't want to rip it out, especially if it's been there for a while. The roots might kind of be bound. It might be like have a lot of roots and you don't want to tear those. So this is not too bad. I'm just going to break up I'll tilt it down here so we can see. I'm going to kind of break up the soil a little bit so that when it goes into its new home, the roots have some space to expand into its new lovely soil. And so anytime you get a new plant, you want to just find out a couple basic things about it if you can. And sometimes I don't, and you just do the best you can. So you don't have to do tons of research, but some plants, especially like this fiddle-leaf fig, can be a little fickle. It likes sort of certain things. So this one, you don't want to overwater. And that's something with plants, I think, that is a common thing for people to do. They want to take good care of their plants. And so they end up adding too much water, which can actually cause the roots to rot and the plant to die. And so for many plants, including this fiddle-leaf fig, you want to water it maybe once a week or so, and you want to make sure that the soil is completely dry before you water it again. So if you have a plant and you notice that the soil is still pretty wet, you want to wait to dry it or water it. No, I'm covered in dirt. All right. And this one too is a plant that really likes plenty of sunlight. So I'm going to try to find a sunny spot in my house, but I have a lot of my spots are already taken because I have so many plants. But I'm going to try to find a sunny spot. And these ones are really cool. These can actually grow up to be 10 feet tall. I have one in my back room that's probably around 5 feet. I have one over here in the sunroom that's probably about 3 feet. So if I take good care of this, and obviously at some point I'd have to repot it. So when they start growing bigger and bigger, you do have to repot them. And it's a good idea every like couple years anyway to repot plants, even if they're not getting huge. And I'm just going to like water it, like I said, about once a week, put it in a nice sunny spot, and just look at its leaves. If you notice it's turning brown, that might mean that it's not getting enough water, or it could have a disease, or if its leaves are falling off, I might be overwatering it. So you just want to kind of like look for signals that the plant gives you that it's maybe not doing so well. And it's an easy Google search to look up, why is my plant turning brown? Or like, what does this plant need to survive? What does it need to do its best? And there's house plant fertilizers you can get. I have like a thing that I sprinkle on mine about once a month and water it in, and that gives it some extra nutrients, and that can help it to do really well also. So that's kind of cool, kind of fun. There's lots of plants you can get that are like not very expensive and just really easy to take care of. This is one of the more difficult ones. There's some that really can survive pretty much anything. So if you're just getting started, just like do a quick look, or if you go to the store, they even sell houseplants, at places like Walmart and Home Depot, and just ask like what's an easy one to get started with. If you're new to it, or if you've been doing it for a while, you can start to branch out and find ones that are maybe a little more challenging, or you can get ones that like less light or more light depending on where you live. There's plants for every situation. Cool. So the other thing I wanted to do is just kind of like this, like a little mini greenhouse experiment. So this time of year, if you plant a garden, it's a good time to start thinking about planting your seeds, in getting them started indoors to plant outside in your garden. But if you don't have that and you just want to kind of like experiment a little bit, this is a fun one. So I have like this wet paper towel and a little bean seed, and I'm just going to loosely wrap it in this wet paper towel as such. I'm going to take my clear plastic baggie and just plop it in, and I'm going to tape this to a sunny window, and then I'm going to see, and hopefully in a couple days I will start to see it sprout, and you can watch the little bean sprout grow, or whatever kind of seed you have in your baggie. And it works well in the baggies because the sun hits it like a greenhouse, and it's going to trap that heat and sun inside. And as long as there's some moisture in the cotton ball or the paper towel, it should have the sunlight and the water that it needs to start sprouting. And you can kind of watch it grow. You can watch the roots and the sprouts, and then you could even transplant it into soil if you want to grow it more, or you can just kind of watch it and observe what happens. That's kind of fun too. So that is our video for today. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you are enjoying this weather, and I encourage you to go get yourself a houseplant. Or another thing you can do is, if you know people with houseplants, ask for a clipping. That's a free way to get houseplants. It's lots of plants are easy to just get a little clipping from the leaf, pop it into water, wait till it grows some roots, and then you can repot it for yourself, and you have a free houseplant. All right, I hope you enjoyed this video, and I'll see you next week. Bye-bye.